Okay, let's talk more about blooms and go actually beyond blooms, either the regular blooms that you're familiar with or the affect, where we get a little bit more into other skills. Let's talk about dealing with people, writing, speaking, reading, behavior, etc. We know we need to get beyond the technical skills of Word, Excel, PowerPoint, etc. Although PowerPoint can't be underestimated here. We can create a WordPress blog or website. We can create YouTube videos. We can start iTunes podcast. We can do videos like the one I'm doing now. All these are technical skills we can add to our uh, work or lessons very simply. In fact, I had one student, I make them create a WordPress website on their own, and he found it to be unbelievably easy, and it is actually very easy to create a WordPress website. It takes less than 5 minutes, and it's free. And he started his own business. He went around to all local businesses and looked at their websites online, and he found out that they all were horrible and that he could create something better than them. And in one class, he learned something that was a technical skill that he could go out and start his own little web business based on fixing their websites. And he is doing pretty well doing things like that without very many technical skills and just a little bit of education and training and a little bit of salesmanship. He's out there doing that. We also can talk about writing. So, of course, we have APA or academic writing. As you can see, I'm not a huge fan of some of the academic writing that's out there. I don't think we need to be quite as academic as maybe other disciplines, or we should be focused on clarity, etc. For example, one of my favorite topics for some meetings that we have at the campus is I am not a big fan of mandating 1-inch margins and a few other the technicalities of the APA formatting, because if you wrote the Google algorithm for search on the top of a pizza box in crayon, you'd still be a billionaire. And if you're going to be a billionaire in business, it's not about the 1-inch margins. It's about your thinking, your problem solving, and your critical thinking. So I concentrate less on the 1-inch margins than I do on the thinking that's in the paper. However, writing is more than that. Writing, if anybody's ever written, you know writing isn't about writing. Writing is about editing. You throw out a first draft and it's always bad. Stephen King, in his book on writing, immediately tells you right up front, my first draft is not any better than your first draft. It's just that I edit and edit and edit and fix it and make it better and better and better until it is pretty good. And you don't do that work. So when we teach students, at least in my class, we write a 1-page memo and then we edit, then we edit, then we edit. There's 3 or 4 weeks they're working on a 1-page memo and they think it's a 1-page memo. How hard could this be? And by the end of the 4th week, they look back at their first week and say, oh, editing actually matters. In addition to that, we can write to different audiences. Executives versus entry-level employees. That's different vocabulary, it's different tone, it's different levels of explanation. Are you writing to a customer, or are you writing to an employee, or are you writing to a supplier, or are you writing to a regulator? Pick your audience and write to them. We can also write in different formats, memos, emails, even texts. Even text, we're communicating with text. It's part of the business vernacular. Are we teaching them to create text, emails, and memos that get to the point and clarify the situation without being overly verbose? So here's a question I do often in one class. This is managerial accounting question. You're a manager and you're trying to impress me, the new CEO. I asked you to prepare a master budget given the data in problem 829. Now this is a standard problem in the textbook about creating a master budget. It's straightforward. You create a spreadsheet. It's done. Then I say, also do 2 other versions that show a 10% increase and a 10% decrease in sales. Well, that's adjusting the spreadsheets. I go on to say, but you run any numbers you think I might need and write up in a memo for me. Clearly, you know I'm concerned about cash flow and profitability, but you think to yourself this is an opportunity to really show your value and how you think about business. Well, how many different skills are in that assignment? They have to write to a CEO. They're not writing to the production staff or a vendor. They're writing to somebody who's knowledgeable. They don't have to explain net present value or IRR. In addition to that, they've opened everything up that they can do anything they want, so they can do different analysis in this. So they have to run their own numbers and do their own thinking and then justify it. So there's lots of things going on in this one question. And additionally, it's not just the answer answer in A29. It's the adjustment of the answer in A29, the plus or minus 10%. If they set their spreadsheet up correctly so that the input is at the top and then underneath it is all the calculations, all they have to do is change the input to have a different sales number, and all the numbers should change automatically. If they don't set their spreadsheet up correctly, they will end up typing in a bunch of numbers and having a mess. It's a wonderful lesson for students, and all I had to do was change the question slightly. We're not talking about a lot of work here. We're not talking about spending more money or increased budgets. This is a fantastic way to get a better result from your students by just taking your existing lessons and giving them that little spin, that little different take that gets them other skills that can build their career.